Hey, everybody, welcome on into the Big Factor here on the Big Play Sports Network. Ryan Tyler, Jack O'Rourke, Nick Padone, Rob Watson. It is a beautiful Thursday, June 5th. Jack, I've noticed that something arrived to your house yesterday, and you happen to be donning it on today's show.
You might need to show him.
Do I have to turn around? I don't think I have that range of motion. I mean, this is, in fact, a Shedeur Sanders jersey. The Cleveland Browns are all the way back. We're looking at, I believe when the jersey came in, the FanDuel win total changed from 4.5 to 9.5, so it's 5 wins already. I know Nick's got one on the way. I mean, we're looking at probably 15 wins this year. But, I mean, hey, great day at the studios. Weather's pretty good. We all got down here early, had a great morning meeting. Joey Pfaff back in studio for the first time in what seems like forever. I mean, vibes are back up here at Burke.
Yeah, they are, absolutely.
The Shedeur jersey arrived yesterday, Jack.
Yes.
It is at my house.
So you were also, you were confirmed in the game.
Yeah, I'm in the game. I have one.
Let's go. Rob, Nick, how we doing today?
I'm doing good. Got a nice little lift in yesterday. Might go back today. You know, getting a little active. Got the pre-order going for Madden and college football, so I'm excited for that. Watched a little NHL last night.
Oh yeah, you did.
Exciting game 1 of the Stanley Cup final, so I'm buzzing today.
What up, Nick?
What's up, guys?
How you doing
Glad
today?
to be back in here. What in the world was going on with my internet yesterday? And then we were supposed to get some work done at the house, and you always get skeptical around noon when they don't call with the ETA. Surely enough, probably there around 1 o'clock, they were like, "Yeah, he ain't gonna make it out today." So I was like, "Oh, cool. I could have gone in for the factory."
And the thing that's annoying, Nick, there is all you're asking for is just a tad bit of clarity in what's going on in the situation. Like just a simple, like, hey, not gonna make it out tonight. Boom, changes your day around. Can't even get that. Don't even get that kind of respect.
But it was a fun night. We had me and Cam had Grandma Padone over the new house for the first time. So she hasn't been there yet. So first time post engagement. Did the steps also both ways. Was winded, hit the inhaler before she got taken home by my dad. But it was nice having Grandma at the house for the first time yesterday.
Shout out Grandma Padone. Are you really going to give Madden your money in the big 2025?
Oh well, it's not my money, so there it is. Shout out to my girlfriend.
Fair enough. I can't in good faith continue to give my money to Madden. I've been on the NCAA wave. Now that that's back, I'll probably get 26. Although I spend an insane amount of money on Cut, College Ultimate Team, that I probably shouldn't. And there's been a theory that they're just AI generating their cards now because there's like 3 Nick Nashes.
Yeah.
There's like 8 different Derek Harmons. Like,
Well, welcome to that's been a thing in like Madden Ultimate Team for years. You'll get like 40 Patrick Mahomes by the time the year's over. I personally I played Madden since like Madden 08. And I've always just loved it. I'm really good at the game now. Same thing with college football. Was glad to see that come back. So I'm just gonna buy both, play both a bunch. Got a lot more time on my hands.
The
now.
combo is what makes it so enticing, man. Like I haven't bought either yet, but the fact that you go to buy it and then the combo is right
It
there. And
comes
it's
with
like,
points.
Here's how they really get you though. Here's how they really get you though. Is
You
they
get the early access.
what happens to me
Right.
every year. So I did this last year. I'm probably gonna do it again this year. Buy college football. Very excited. College football, always just a superior game, no matter what the year is to Madden. But then what's going to happen? Here's where they really get you. Big EA is going to come out with these training camp highlights in like mid-August, early September. That's when you're like, oh, I gotta play with Shedeur and Madden. So they don't even get you on the bundle; they get you on both.
There's only one trailer out.
but how do
there.
you guys how do you have time to really dive into both college football and Madden? Because they come out like the
Usually,
same
like-
time.
I don't.
Like I have
I
to
just
pick
quick
one
ma-
and commit to it.
It comes out sooner.
Here's what I do. It does come out.
Yeah,
sooner.
there's a 2-month gap.
I think it's July, and then Madden's usually what, August?
And I usually I'd switch between. I'll have phases where I play one for like a month,
Yeah.
or a couple weeks, and I'll be like, I'm sick of it. And then I play the other one, and they're usually kind of 2 different games to away, but you get to keep that football. Switch it over.
What I did last year was I committed to NCAA. Like I went through like the, where do you like I made my own quarterback. Like, is that what, like Road to Glory?
Yeah.
So I did that, took NCAA really serious. But then for like my NFL fix, like I would literally just sim like computer quick matches on Madden just to get a little NFL fix while I focused on the college football game. And then you could I didn't do it, but you could then like you would transfer over your college player like to the NFL. I might do that this year.
Will anyone? I believe they're bringing back high school this year in Road to Glory as
So
well.
I'm going to do that.
Is anyone going the Joey Pfaff
Cleveland
Cleveland Wildcats route, trying to get the career back?
Nah, Nordonia for life,
yeah,
man.
Jeff Fox is coaching me up to
Yeah,
the NFL,
same.
just like you did Denzel. What was I about to say? Shout out Jeremiah Smith. I think it's him and Ryan Williams on the cover.
Yeah.
And
Which,
then,
by the way,
I actually know someone.
I know. It's kind of like
by the way,
What, Ryan Williams?
I mean,
Yeah.
come on.
Yeah.
We can't let Jeremiah Smith have this one thing.
So they're last year there was 3 players. I think they're kind of working it down.
Which
to
they
where
were all.
there's like
Who
See,
was
I
it?
don't.
It
I
was-
think they're going to
it
keep
was
doing
Travis,
multiple on the
Quinn
cover.
Ewers, and Donovan Edwards.
Which Donovan Edwards was mid. Quinn Ewers was mid.
It really
Right.
should have just been Travis.
It should have just
Hunter.
been Travis
So
Hunter.
I think it might just be a thing every
Well,
year.
speaking of
where they-
Saquon,
Ryan Williams is disgusting though too. Like he could go out and have just as many, if not more, yards than Jeremiah Smith next
it
year.
wasn't even close.
I think it's
it
very
wasn't even
possible.
close
I think it's
last year.
possible.
So if we're
I think
if
you're
that's what we're
remembering that
basing,
spin move.
the
I think
spin
we're
No, I
remembering
mean
the
he had
spin
no
move.
quarterback.
NFL.
I thought you were-
he can't throw
literally-
for shit.
We were
I thought you were a
campaigning-
Jalen
Now that he's not a
Milroe
Brown,
guy.
he can't throw for
The
shit.
switch up is nasty.
Yeah, what in the world are we doing?
Bro, Jeremiah had a worse QB with better stats.
True. Saquon Barkley
Big Ten.
cover Madden NFL 26. Do we believe in the Madden curse?
He's
No.
offensive player of the year curse, Madden curse, and he's got all the injury history.
30 years
Four
old,
hu-
just got a bag.
And
What
not-
could go
do
wrong?
not take him
400,
first in fantasy.
400 plus touches
Don't
going all the
do
way to the
it.
Super Bowl.
Don't do
Not a
it.
good
Do
formula.
not do it. Don't do it.
All right, let's
Ryan, you taking him in fan? We got to get some fantasy chat on the fact. We didn't
Oh.
have the factor during NFL season.
That's true.
Yeah.
I'm a fantasy.
Can we have a?
I'm a
Yeah,
fantasy
Ryan's-
demon.
yeah,
Like,
let's
I'm a
Let's have
fantasy demon.
We need a fantasy league at the office.
I'm an absolute fantasy demon.
Ryan, here's what
We
I
got
think we
6
do.
Like,
people
I'll
right
go
here.
home and just watch fantasy pros, fantasy footballers. Like I live and breathe fantasy football.
Here's what we need to do,
we need
man. Like,
football.
come football season. Like, this show is gonna take a big pivot towards like ball in general. But like Fridays on the factor, especially, we got to do like
Sit starts.
yeah. Like
All that.
Fridays
Oh,
on the
yeah.
factor,
I'm
man.
down.
We got like the you
It's
got
like
the
the
NFL
NFL
parlays, the
roundtable.
college
Who's
football
our-
parlays
yeah,
too.
yeah.
Yeah,
I'm a
we're
big
gonna
college football parlay guy too.
work some bets into the show. Like,
Yeah.
Yes, bro.
football season.
Very
It's
down.
We
right
can have our
around the
little
corner.
fall
too.
coffees.
Very
Oh,
down, bro.
All right,
Right around the corner.
let's say we talk some actual football, fellows. Wednesday was the second OTAs for our Cleveland Browns that was open to the public. Pickett was first in 11 on 11s. You can note Shedeur Sanders was the only one who worked with only backups. But Kimberly A. Martin, this is big news. She was on Get Up. She's talking about Shedeur Sanders, the possibility of him getting the starting role. Well, she says, quote, in that building, obviously referring to the Browns and Bria, there are people who believe that Shedeur can 100% be the starter of this football team. He was talking to, I believe it was Louis Riddick. He said it's incumbent upon the Browns to put him in this situation. It's also incumbent on Shedeur to do the work, which talking to people in that building, and I love this phrase, Kevin Stefanski says it over and over, he's soaking everything up like he's a sponge. I get the sense in the building something catastrophic and crazy would have to happen for Shedeur not to be on the roster. She also mentioned about Dylan Gabriel. One source said to me, he has everything you want in a quarterback. He's just small. If he were a little taller, a lot of people would be looking at him a little differently. And a lot of people have that same opinion. They said if Dylan Gabriel was 6'3", he could have possibly been the 102 in this year's draft. Or even some people might have had him above Cam Ward. But you can't grow at this stage in your life.
Ryan, I have a lot of thoughts on this. First thought is, of course, that Kimberly A. Martin is hearing from inside the Browns building that Shedeur Sanders can start. She never said when. She never said that he will start week 1. I'll be honest with you guys, I would be stunned if Shedeur Sanders was named the week 1 starter, because that means as a 5th round pick, he was that much better and everyone else was that much worse. And you've got 2 veteran quarterbacks in Flacco and Pickett, and then a guy that you spent a top 100 pick on in Dylan Gabriel. I would be absolutely stunned.
Has that ever happened?
If Shedeur Sanders would be named the week
Has that ever
1
happened in the
starter?
NFL?
I don't think that's ever happened. But the one thing that I will say is I do think it's a little bit of a sucker move that Shedeur is the only quarterback that hasn't taken reps with the ones. And it's just OTAs. We'll see what happens when the mandatory mini camp comes around. That's where you really start finding value in what all of this means and tracking snaps and completions, which I know some are doing out there. But it's weird because if this is a fair and honest quarterback competition where anybody could go in it and win, then Shedeur Sanders does deserve his snaps with the ones in OTAs, whether they're voluntary, whether they're mandatory. Like, Shedeur should be getting some run with the ones here if this is a true and honest competition.
I think the thing is, though, they only are tracking that he's not getting the snaps on the open days. So we don't know what's happening on the other days
That's
of
true.
practice.
Correct.
That's sort of the
That
only
is
thing
true.
that's coming in here.
And that could be a big move by the Browns.
Yeah, I think they're really trying to fool us, and I think they know what they have. They're starting to realize that they've got this gem, and that. So I'm really all I keep getting out of this is that they're gonna have to get rid of Flacco or Pickett at some point to make this work. Because going through all those guys in the year, if they like Dylan and Shedeur that much, and you're gonna want to get to see what you got out of everyone this year, one of them's got to go before the season starts.
The
It's that
thing,
simple.
The thing, we're at a place now, and I hate to say this, right? Because I'm a massive Joe Flacco fan.
I'd be gone.
We're at a place where he's the guy on the roster that just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And I hate saying that because he was so good. And Joe Flacco is probably your clearest path to like doing anything meaningful this year. Like if they told Joe Flacco, you're the week 1 starter, and they let him start all 17, like maybe that's how the Browns, would surprise the world to make the playoffs. But that doesn't solve any of their issues.
Exactly.
Because he turns 41. That doesn't let you see what you have in Kenny Pickett, who's really just here for a 1-year rental as of now. It doesn't let you see if Shedeur Sanders or Dylan Gabriel could be the house money guys that could stop you from selecting a quarterback in the first round next year now that you have 2 picks because of that Jacksonville trade. I don't know that we see much Joe Flacco, and that might be a surprise to some people that don't follow the Browns like that closely. Because, Ryan, I feel like if we take those microphones out to like the streets of Cleveland, we ask who should be the starting quarterback week 1, I think we would get a lot of Flacco. So I think people are going to be surprised when it's not as much Flacco in the whole season as some people might expect. And maybe he does start the year and gets like 3 or 4 games. I don't know how this all plays out, but it's not going to be as much as what people think, if at all.
I think
Ryan,
people. Go for it.
I was going to say, I did some homework for you on quarterbacks to start week 1 as rookies.
Well, I know
There
like
have been-
Dak Prescott, but like because I think Tony
Injury.
Romo was hurt and he was a 3rd rounder, I believe.
Yeah, and the other, so yeah, he went at 135 and started week 1. The only other one to be not in the top 100 was Kyle Orton in 2005. He started week 1 and played 8 games for the Bears that year. So
Yeah.
But then the last QB to not be in the top 50 and start week 1, Deshaun Kaiser.
Really?
Yeah.
That's the last one.
It
for
doesn't
week one.
it doesn't
Just
happen
don't
often.
do that.
I mean, there's 5th rounders that don't make rosters, but
Yeah.
Nick, back to your point, like I think people need to have like a mind shift. Like obviously, Joe Flacco probably gives you your best chance to win right away, but what does it solve if in a couple months after the season starts, you're gearing up? Let's say you're in the playoff hunt magically with Joe Flacco.
Right.
That's great, but what happens when you fizzle out in the wild card round, or God forbid you even go to the divisional round? That's awesome. But what you're not playing Joe Flacco next year, and then you're going into next season not knowing what you have in Shedeur and Dylan with 2 first-round picks. Like you have to figure out if you have a
and at least a
quarterback.
bad first round pick at that.
And
because
it's,
you mess
and
around
it's
and won
especially
too
different
much.
because you decided to take 2 rookie quarterbacks. Like if you just took Dylan Gabriel and you were rolling with him, Pickett, and Flacco. Okay, Flacco gets a start and he rides it out. And he doesn't look good. Okay, you throw Kenny Pickett in there, and then you don't have many games left to see Dylan Gabriel. But this is the opportunity. Like, if anything, the goal this season is just to find out if Dylan Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders are able to start next season and be a viable franchise quarterback. And it could be even Kenny Pickett. Like, I know that's not the one people want, but it's not like he's old nearly. Going into his 4th year, former first
starting
round.
Flacco
I'm
is-
like
is
almost screaming it from the rooftops at this point too. Like that's the one that they want to work out.
Yeah.
Because they view this is a guy that was a 1st-round pick who's run this system before. A division rival gave up on him what they believe to be a little bit too early. How often have we sat in fear? Remember when Baker Mayfield put out his trade request and you had that awkward couple days where Deshaun said no, but Baker still wanted to trade, and everybody thought, well, this ends with Baker going to the Pittsburgh Steelers because Roethlisberger retired, and Baker's going to absolutely haunt us for years. Obviously, that didn't happen, but the Browns have an opportunity to use Kenny Pickett against their division rival and make them pay for that mistake, if you want to call it that, in them giving up on Kenny Pickett too soon. They like the kid a lot, and I think he's a viable option. And the one thing that continues to loom in the shadows that I know everybody's going to laugh at is the Deshaun factor. Like if he's cleared October, November, do you throw him in the list of guys that you're trying out really in the midst of an NFL regular season?
Well, logistically, you'd almost have to in a way, right? Because you can't carry 4 quarterbacks. Like, you're going to have other needs on the roster. Like, we already have, like, and again, you're not at a final 53, but we in general have less linebackers, like, in our room in general, typically. I don't know, because then, like, what if it happens where Deshaun comes off the pup, he's healthy. Let's say Kenny Pickett's a starter and they trade or cut Flacco in the offseason. Let's say we're like 3-5 with Kenny Pickett, but he's not playing bad football by any means. We don't have an incredible roster. It's not his fault. You haven't seen either of the young quarterbacks yet. You can't just up and cut Deshaun in the middle of the year. Like, what do you do in that scenario? Because you can't carry 4, and you can't put either of them on the practice squad because they'll get swiped.
Can we put Deshaun on the practice squad?
No, because you'd have to cut him. You can't just designate people to practice squad.
I think they would have someone. There's some special teams player that's probably losing their job because if it works out that way, it's just gonna have to be what it is. Which is why we got to get rid of one because we definitely can't have 5.
What's nice is you get the game. You do get the game day inactive. So even in a world where they don't trade any of these dudes, like you could roll into week 1 with Deshaun on the pup, and then you on your active roster is probably Shedeur, Gabriel, Pickett. And then Flacco is your game day inactive emergency QB who doesn't dress but can dress if other
that was new
QBs
last year,
get
right?
hurt. That was hurt last year, but I don't know. Now that I say that out loud, I think that's only the third. You could only have 3. That's like the third quarterback rule.
So they're gonna have to get rid of
He
one.
needs to be a
they got to get rid of one,
bro.
And they can't get you literally can't get rid of Deshaun.
And I just don't want to see them kick the can down the road
unless somebody
on this team.
I just
Who
think
would do
everything's pointing to Kenny Pickett starting week 1.
And that's fine.
To me, it makes the most sense. I don't want Shedeur, or I want Shedeur to win the job, and I want him to be the best quarterback because that probably means your future's in the best hands.
Yep.
But I don't want him to start week 1 necessarily
That's
because
fine.
1, that's a lot of pressure. 2, you're playing the early schedule's so tough. And
Whole
Kenny Pickett, it makes
schedule's
sense. You're playing the Bengals and Ravens, who, by the way, Kenny Pickett has a lot of familiarity with both of those teams playing in the AFC North. I just think it's a perfect storm right now, and I think Kenny Pickett. I've said it for a while. I think Kenny Pickett will be your week.
So
one.
Ryan,
also-
let's look at this, like, because I want to break this down just a smidge. Because I agree. I think it's Pickett is your starter September 7th, right across the street here at the stadium against the Cincinnati Bengals. But at what point does the car key exchange hands?
Right.
You know,
is it performance based? Is it record based? Because it should be performance based, but at the same, but it won't be. But at the same time, it's like you have to at some point. If Kenny Pickett, you don't see him being that guy that can elevate it to the point where he's being a true difference maker. Because, look, we've seen with Flacco, you need a true difference maker at quarterback. You only get so far. You got to pass that torch eventually because, listen, like you said, you have 2 first round next year. You know it's a strong quarterback class. You traded back because of that. So, I don't know. It's interesting to see.
I mean, dude, you look at the first 4,
It's
too.
just
Like
he has to do the unthinkable to keep the job, or else they're gonna keep looking for ways. Like they'll find a way to get the other 2 out there. It's just what it is. Unless he is like 7-1 or 6-2, and it's just like we're the surprise of the league. He is at some point going to have to give up that spot.
I think Kenny Pickett could go out and have an incredible first 4 weeks. I think the millisecond that they think Dylan Gabriel is, because I think it'll be Dylan Gabriel first. Obviously, took him higher, top 100. I think the millisecond that he even has a batch shot in hell of being the best quarterback on the roster, he starts. Even if Kenny Pickett is maybe not 4-0, but like it's got to be readiness based because you only have so many games to play these kids.
And we're also discounting the possibility that Dylan Gabriel, who I agree with you, will get the first shot to start most likely. The possibility that he goes out there and looks amazing, right? Because then at what point, are you going to end up handing the keys to Shedeur this season, or are you going to look at him as a piece to trade? Because if Dylan Gabriel looks great, you want to get all the reps you can your rookie year in like real game scenarios. And then next year, who knows? You roll in with Dylan Gabriel and you don't take a quarterback in the first round next year. It's all a possibility.
The bye is smack dab in the middle of the season, Rob. So you're looking at after that Patriots game in week 8. And at that point, what's crazy about this is the first 4 are tough.
It's got to be 5-3
unless Kenny Pickett does the unthinkable.
5-3
I don't know
is the minimum.
I don't even know that you're seeing a win, Rob, in the first 4 games because Cincy and Cleveland, is that winnable because it's a home game and because week 1 in the NFL is a weird week? Winnable. But other than that, I mean, you're going to Baltimore. You're hosting the Packers here, who I have to believe are just still a better team than the Browns. And then you're going to Detroit, who I know a lot of people are thinking there's going to be a little bit of attrition and they could have a little bit of regression. But Detroit is better. Then you're going across the pond. So you're probably not making the quarterback change before you're getting ready to go over to London. And then you've got the London game over there against Minnesota, who's probably going to be a good team, and then you're in Pittsburgh. So that's the first 6 right there. So that's grueling.
When our record is 2-4 and he does not perform against his old team, that's when we see the first switch.
And that's also why.
So we think Dylan Gabriel time against the Dolphins October 19th at home.
Yes, that's the first game where we'll see
just Tua versus Walmart Tua.
This
honestly, yeah.
And that's
battle of the
that'll
left
set up a long enough stretch for Shedeur to maybe still work his way in there before that Cam Ward game.
And this is why it's so important that if you're Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry, having an open dialogue with Jimmy Haslam of understanding that, listen, this season we're not necessarily maybe going to be results based on wins and losses, because we understand that that might not be correlated with the correct way to identify who really is the best quarterback in our future. Because if not, you don't have that open dialogue. Well, then Kevin Stefanski's got to coach for his job, and that might mean bearing with Kenny Pickett through some tough games.
I mean, I know Jimmy Haslam's plan here in terms of the mutual understanding between the coaches, front office, and ownership. It's the millisecond that the capacity for a home game is under 50%, Shedeur Sanders' ass goes in the game. That's the unspoken understanding.
Because let's be real, if you're starting a rookie his first game in his NFL career, you want to win, but I don't think you really can go into that game and expect to win because of that learning curve. I don't know. We'll see. It's going to be a
third round
season.
and a fifth round at that.
At
Let
that.
alone a guy that you took. It's the I mean, we're spending a lot of time sitting here and analyzing it. I really think what they're doing is taking a bunch of crap and throwing it at the wall.
Oh, yeah.
And hoping that some of the crap
hand it to
sticks.
Joe.
Sometimes when you win 3 games and you pay a dude
Just hand it to
$250 million to not play, you have
That'll
to do
make me
that.
feel good about the season. We could get like 1,200 yards out of Judkins or something. Like if the QB, if all else fails, I need to see something go well on the
Or
offense.
just let me see
That's
Dylan
it.
Sampson have 3 like
Let me
just
see
Duke
Harold
Johnson-esque
Fannin
catches
catch
out of the
5
backfield.
touchdowns. Like I don't care. Like the wins and losses is gonna be rough. I need to see some people out there producing on offense. I can't
Rob.
see us average 13 points a game again or whatever. it was last
Yeah,
year.
the
Like,
offense just has to
can't
look
do
more
it, bro.
competent. Like,
Can't do it.
like if that's the scariest outcome for Stefanski, Ryan, right there.
Ooh, yeah,
Is
that's
if
what
you
gets
go
him canned,
if
bro.
you go through 4 QBs, or even if it's 3, even if it's just Pickett and the 2 rookies, and just nothing looks competent, then ownership probably looks at you like, what are we doing here? You love this Dylan Gabriel kid. We maybe forced you to take Shedeur. Couldn't make it work with him either. That's when I think you have to ask the question of, is this the guy that we're going to let coach our quarterback that we're taking in the first round next year? Because if none of anybody works out, you know you're going to have a high draft pick. And you know I'm heading to Indy next year, calling into the factor for Bailey Collins,
it's
evaluating the quarterback situation.
And then it's time we're done hearing that, because then that means this system, cut it out, bro. I'm not trying to hear it, bro. We need to move on from all of it. We need a new guy with some new style stuff. We'll be doing the cheat motions, the RPOs.
No, that's what scares me, though, because you guys don't know this yet. But I do, because I got to watch this for 5 years. Sometimes Tommy Rees, as an offensive coordinator, just shows up fucking hammered to football games. That is the thing that you haven't learned yet. That is going to be coming soon.
It worked for Josh Gordon. But listen,
He's not calling plays, though.
Yeah, he's not calling plays. He was just running.
I just know we've been doing the 2 tight ends, the I-form, the whatever, all that stuff. It'll be out the window if it doesn't work this year. We're gonna go to something modern. We're gonna get a new guy in who's been a darling of some other team that made some other offense pop. They were just like top 5 in the league. Their quarterback threw for 5,000 yards. We're gonna bring that guy in. It might be a complete failure because that happens, but we're just gonna have to do something new.
I don't know. I don't
We
think
brought in the guy
Kevin's-
who ran Jalen Miller up the middle 45 times in a row in the national semifinal.
Kevin's not on the hot seat, guys, but they've got to look competent. Like last year, the offense was that historically bad that like you can't only score 10 points in a game.
I mean, and everything
you've got to score 20.
Everything, everything they've done this
17
2
offseason.
touchdowns and some field
It
goals.
feels like
bro.
everything this offseason they've done is just preparing themselves to go back to that West Coast. Kevin Stefanski's gonna be, you
Get
draft
better
2 running
work.
backs, you get depth on the O-line, like Cornelius
Another
Lucas,
tight end.
you get Harold Fannin, right? Like it seems like they're doing everything to go back to what worked. And hopefully now you have a piece in one of those quarterbacks to make it work. Well, mandatory veteran minicamp, that starts June 10th through 12th. Hopefully you think Myles Garrett will be there. We got to take a break, but Nick, before we do, we're going to be at the College Companies Championship.
I can't wait to get out there. And I think the biggest thing that we haven't hit on with the College Companies Championship is that philanthropy is at the heart of everything that they do. For 72 years, Firestone Country Club in Akron has been a staple for this tournament. But over the past 2 years, the College Companies has raised $2.6 million and given to over 25 25 Northeast Ohio charities. This is literally your way to get involved of the biggest charity event of the year. It's one ticket for 2 experiences. So not only do ticket holders have an opportunity to watch the legendary golfers throughout PGA history, but also you get access into the Colleague Infinity Zone. That's where we're going to be. That's the epicenter of all of the off-course fun. It's over 50,000 square feet located at the main entrance, elevates the fan experience with interactive activities, bars, lounge areas, food trucks, pull-ups, celebrity appearances. Once the play for the day ends on the course, the Infinity Zone is a full-blown music festival. You don't want to miss it. ColleagueGolf.com. We'll be out there June 18th through the 22nd. Come say hello and come be a part of the biggest charity event in Northeast Ohio this summer.
Yeah, I'm so excited. It was a blast last year. It's going to be even better this year. I just thought about this, guys. This isn't really to call it Company Championship, but I think what I want to start doing, too, is we do it like a daily poll. Like, we put it 30 minutes before the show starts. Like, for instance, we could do who do you want to see start week 1 or something, or who do you think has the inside edge? I think that'd be a fun thing to do. All right, we got to take a break. When we get back, we're talking the Cleveland Guardians. They get one in the Bronx. I think it was their first shutout in Yankee Stadium in quite a while. Jack's got a little buy or sell Guardians edition. We'll do that when we get back on the Big Factor. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Big Factor here on the Big Play Sports Network. Ryan Tyler, Jack O'Rourke, Nick Padone, and Rob Watson. And, of course, our friends at Fairway Ford. Fairway Ford is the biggest Ford truck dealership in the entire state of Ohio. Largest selection of Super Duty trucks and F-150s. They won't be beat on price by any other Ford dealers. You see right up there, employee pricing for everybody. You pay less than what they pay. Pre-tariff pricing on all Fords, over 500 in stock on their lot right now in Campfield, Ohio. So don't let that short drive prevent you from saving literally thousands of dollars on your new ride. Fairway Ford, the largest inventory of new Ford trucks, the lowest pricing and same hometown level of service. Scan the QR code or go give their website a visit, fairwayfordohio.com. We're actually going to be live this month at Canfield doing a little show over there in Fairway Ford. I can't wait to go look at all the trucks, all the F-150s. It's going to be an absolute blast. All right, Jack, we're talking.
I heard there's been a request on that, by the way. I think we're going to do some content from inside of a Bronco.
Oh, hell yeah.
Wow.
Little road show.
Little white OJ Bronco.
Yo.
All right, Guardians, they get a win against the New York Yankees. It started off Angel Martinez, a 2-run shot in the first inning. Luis Ortiz gets his first win since April 18th. He strikes out 7 and 5 2/3 innings. He gets his win for the first time since April 18th. Jack, we're going to do a little Guardians buy sell. Before that, I want to mention Jose Ramirez, his double. That extended his on-base streak to 30 games. That is the second longest of his career. Tonight, actually, we'll get Slade Ciccone on the mound versus Max Fried. That'll be a tough battle.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, Jose Ramirez is it's Cooperstown. There's not really much more else you could say about him on a daily basis when you come in here and talk about him every single day, because he does the same thing every single night. He's patient. He works counts. And yeah, I just wish at some point in his career we fixed the launch angle like 2%, because man, with all the doubles this guy hits off walls, I mean, there's another world where he has 500 home runs in his career.
Wow. All right, how do you want to do this little buy or sell edition? I know you got a
go
lot
around.
of players.
I think we got some good guys in here. If anyone feels really strongly about a guy, yell out what you think.
All right, well, let's start here. Buy or sell, Jung Kenzie Noel.
Sell.
Just
Yeah.
in general?
What?
In general?
In general, buy or sell junk stocks.
Sell.
Are you just going to hold on to them until
I'm
they're absolutely
holding.
worth
I'm
zero?
holding. Yeah,
Sell.
I'm holding until they're
It's
worth zero.
crashing. It's over.
Because, dude, I'll say this. Like, I bought the junk stock pre big Christmas in the home run. So I bought it low. I'm not gonna sell it at its low.
So here's the thing. And a lot of people in Cleveland bought stock.
You missed out on the Bitcoin.
A lot of people in Cleveland have bought stock on Jonk. Now my question is to you. He's a fun player because he matches home runs, but he's not a fun player when he swings at balls 4 feet out of the zone. But do we think if Jonk wasn't kind of a cool nickname with the Christmas hat and he didn't occasionally hit a 500-foot dinger, nobody really would have been on him?
Well, yeah, right. I was never a Jonk guy from the go. Nothing against him. I think that Jonk could be on a bad baseball team, play 140 games a year, and hit 30 home runs and strike out 200 times. He's a fifth outfielder on some teams. Yeah, a little Mark Reynolds, Mark Trumbo, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I'm selling whatever stock I would have had. Facebook Marketplace. I don't know where you want to put it, but yeah, it's just he needs everyday at bats to be a competitive baseball player, and he's not getting that here right now. And his role's much better suited for J-Rod until something opens up that would be him playing every day, and he's not there right now.
Like you said about the other guy, I just feel like, and I'm like not the biggest baseball dude, but we really hang on to the people that get like a nickname or have a big
I'm saying
moment.
SpongeBob, bro.
Yeah, like
it's
and
just
not
much different
they're
from
just
SpongeBob.
like we're still thinking about the big moment, and it was the crazy. Like I was watching the game, I was hyped, bro. Like clutch, super clutch. Like it was last strike, biggest home run, bro. But that's just not him consistently, and that's clouding us.
If we had a guy outside of Jose Ramirez, like if we had a guy that occasionally, had a campaign of 30 home runs and was consistently hitting 20 home runs, we wouldn't even be fascinated with Jonk. I think that's the reality of it.
Yep. And I think people are still sold on the dream of that Jonk could be that guy. Yeah. That like with Stephen Kwan, who could at times hit
he takes
damn
some of the most just miserable fucking at bats I've seen in my entire life, guys. Like we just gotta stop. We just gotta cut the shit on it, okay? He's not gonna do it.
like dude, because Ryan, to that point, like you've got Jose, who's this perennial all-star MVP candidate, gonna be in Cooperstown. You've got Stephen Kwan, who could mess around and hit 400. So you've got like the all-around hitter. You got the guy that's hitting for crazy average. The one piece that you're missing to have a somewhat competent lineup is that big bat that just stands there and mashes. And I think everybody, after what he did in the postseason last year, wants that so badly to be Jonk. But it's just what
it really reminds me of is Myles Garrett. We've always been longing for this running mate. You've tried Olivier Vernon. You tried Davion Clowney. You tried Zadarius Smith. And like for the Guardians.
And then get it going as well. Don't forget about his start the keys.
Got Jannard Avery had a couple sacks.
Lane Orchard might have been.
Don't ever say that name again.
God bless Isaiah McGuire. The thing is, like, and then for the Guardians, you tried Josh Bell, like you've tried Edwin Encarnacion, which for a while it worked. Mike Napoli, like we've been so longing for that big bat to coincide with Jose Ramirez. Like Stephen Kwan's great, but that's not the power bat we're looking for. It reminds me of a lot of similarities of how we've been so desperate for a running mate with Myles Garrett.
Yeah, good comparison. I would love one. I'd give up anything.
So is it that hard to find one? Like, or do we?
If you don't pay people,
typically speaking, almost every Major League Baseball team, even most years, including the Rockies, has a 20 home run hitter in the outfield. Like it's just pretty common, but we could still have one. You never know.
Because we don't sign, so we're not going to sign one. Does it have to be by trade, or do we not pull?
I'm going to get upset the more we talk about Jonk, so let's just move on to the next one.
We've tried that and failed, though. Well, I guess we've tried and it has hit because, like, that's what Josh Naylor was, right. and he did mash a lot of homers.
He was a right fielder. Like in fairness, he was supposed to be an outfielder.
Who gained 600 pounds.
So he broke his leg.
He broke his leg, and then he got out of shape.
You broke your leg.
Yeah, I'm not out of shape. I'm not saying out of shape. I'm not
also just
overweight.
Forced to be skinny. So
yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Next one. Well, let's talk with Luis Ortiz. One of his best outings we saw yesterday against the Yankees that led to a shutout. We actually had Earl Hershiser on the Carlos Berger show, but I watched a documentary a little while ago, but it's 95 minutes. And Earl Hershiser said something pretty interesting. Obviously, he came from the Dodgers NL to the AL. It's not easy to go from pitching in the NL to the AL. It's actually like there's quite some stark differences. And that's exactly what Luis Ortiz did, going from the Pirates to the Guardians. If he can continue having outings like he did yesterday, stock up. I'll buy all the stock in Luis Ortiz. The stuff's nasty. If it needs to be consistent, is the thing.
Yeah.
I love the chain.
Rob loves Luis Ortiz.
That's my guy. And the dreads.
I'm a massive believer in the law of averages, and Gavin Williams and Tanner Bybee aren't going anywhere in this rotation. Shane Bieber's coming back. So out of the remaining 3 guys, you got Slade, Luis, and Logan Allen to work out 2 spots. And a lot of averages tell me one of those guys isn't going to work out. They're just going to fall off the face of the planet. Not going to be Luis Ortiz, though. I think he's got some good stuff.
Especially, too, like I've been buying Luis Ortiz. I'll continue to buy Luis Ortiz because you need him to work out. You know, you flipped him for the Spencer Horwitz trade.
Dude,
there.
Spencer Horwitz is hitting cleanup for the Pirates a lot, too.
Yeah.
Not that he's doing amazing, but...
You traded a lot to get Spencer Horwitz, and then you flip Spencer Horwitz for Luis Ortiz. So it's like you need him to be at least a arm that hangs around this rotation for a little bit. And I think with a performance like what he put together in the that'll play. So yeah, give me more of what we saw last night out of Luis Ortiz.
All right, let's talk Bo Naylor. Stock up, stock down, batting 177 now, guys. I've never been a big Bo guy. I'll leave it at that.
I'm ready. I'm ready to jump on that.
I'm also sell. I don't like
Like
him.
you're ready to jump and sell? Yeah.
And I was buying for a while, you know, the power that was in the minors. It's just, when is that going to show up? You know, because like you look at catchers around MLB and I see people, you know, jump on social media and just every Bo Naylor at bat, they're just pissed off. Every Austin Hedges at bat, they're just pissed off. And it's like, well, for the most part, that's kind of what the catching position is offensively. But if you're going to hit below 200, you at least have to be mashing some homers if you're Bo Naylor, and he's not doing that. So I'm holding out hope because I feel like I have to, because we're absent of any other options at that position. But my faith in Bo Naylor is dwindling a tad. And I wanted him up here so badly. You know, I was one of the people kind of pounding the table for him because he was raking in the minors, both for average and for power, and that hasn't translated. And then defensively behind the plate, I mean, he's certainly not Yan Gomes back there.
I'm saying, dude. Him and Naylor, he is a Nailer, but him and Josh Naylor both have not been good at defense.
Guys,
and if you're not hitting and you can't play good defense,
what
exactly.
does blood do? What does blood do?
I'm going to tell you because, believe it or not, and I'm a guy who actually came into the year as a Bo Naylor hater, which I think you all know. I'm going to buy Bo Naylor stock. And I'm saying that as he's coming off of I think he's actually still riding the 0 for 24 hitless streak. I don't think he got a hit yesterday, right?
Bo Naylor did
I'm
not.
pretty sure
No, he did.
Oh, did he? Okay, he broke that. But hey,
singled the right in the
back.
floor.
I don't know. My thing is, Cooper Ingle probably is your long-term answer at catcher. Cooper Ingle's in Akron. He's probably not going to get to Columbus this year. Last year was the first year in his career of playing the sport of baseball that he was a full-time catcher. Like,
does he rake?
Yeah, he's fucking disgusting at baseball, Ryan. He's gonna be really, really good. He just hopped into the top 50 prospects in baseball as well. But so for the next year and a half,
4 hits yesterday.
Wow.
Let's go.
Or 2 days ago for Cooper Ingle.
Yeah, no, I mean he's a good ball player. And he's gonna be around a couple years. He went to Clemson, I believe, was very good in college. Yep. So you're gonna see him in about a year and a half. But for now, like, the thing with Bo Naylor is you're not going to get much better than 200 batting anywhere with catchers. I know Bo's dropping below that right now, but the thing with Bo, I don't know, Ryan. I'm not Abner Doubleday. Okay, I didn't make the sport, but the thing I look at Bo Naylor,
what happened to the Buster Posies, the Joe Mauers of the world?
They're gone. The thing with Bo Naylor, though, Ryan, that I was going to hit on is he puts up really good at bats. He has long at bats. He's always consistently in the top 10 in baseball in terms of like pitches seen per at bat. You know, catchers tend to have good eyes because they're behind the plate, but guys like that, you just have to give them as long of a leash as possible offensively, because my thing is, like, if he can give you okay defense, which I think Bo Naylor does, I think the starting pitchers are more comfortable with him now. He's been around for a couple of years. He's worked to improve his Spanish and stuff to work with other pitchers. If he can give you 15 to 20 home runs, which he's probably on pace for, if he hits 8th, I don't really give a shit. It's not his fault the lineup sucks. Like, you're not asking for your catcher to give you everything. He's supposed to be your 8-hitter. I'm fine with Bo Naylor, guys.
All right. Anybody you want to just quick mention before we take a break?
Catcher's typically short.
Yeah, I would say so.
I
would say yes. Catchers tend to be short, or they tend to not be tall is a better way to say it.
Yeah, if you had to be like 6'3" and squat down.
That's valid.
Are just guys I'm worried about, or guys I'm
anybody?
Up on?
We gotta take a break, but anybody real quick that you want to mention that
you
you're
want
big
to buy
stock up
or
stock
sell?
down.
Oh,
I like Angel Martinez too.
I'm buying Angel Martinez.
I still think he's a really good 10th. I know he hit the home run yesterday. I don't change my opinions on a day-to-day basis off how they're doing, but I like Angeli. He's a good ball player. Kobe Allard stock up. Huge Kobe Allard guy right now. And then I'm not selling the stock on this guy because he's out of options. I still think there's a very good baseball player somewhere within him, and I've said that for a long time about him on the show, and well before the show was even created. But Gabriel Arias either needs to move like 3 inches closer to home plate, or stop swinging at pitches below the strike zone, or I'm gonna go friggin' insane. I mean, one of the two. Like if you swing at sliders low and away every single game and miss them every single time, and you stand 45 feet off the plate, like what do you think's gonna happen?
It's too
Am I
tempting for
crazy?
him. He's just he knows.
Scoot up.
He knows you don't.
Scoot up. All right, we got to take a break. When we get back, we'll flip it over to the NBA. Game 1 of the NBA Finals between the Pacers and Thunder is tonight. Stanley Cup Game 1 recap. Edmonton gets the win over the Panthers. We'll talk about that when we get back on The Big Factor. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to The Big Factor here on the Big Play Sports Network. Ryan Tyler, Jack Rourke, Nick Padone, Rob Watson, as well as our friends at Garage Beer. Garage Beer comes in just 2 flavors, Classic Light Lager as well as Classic Lime. No frills, no bitterness, no IPAs. It's just beer-flavored beer, exactly what you want. Go get their website to visit drinkgaragebeer.com or scan that QR code to find local retailers who sell garage beer near you. Again, that's drinkgaragebeer.com. All right, guys, the NBA Finals Game 1 is tonight between the Pacers and Thunder. Thunder opened this one as a 9.5-point favorite. Big underdogs are the Pacers. I believe they're plus 340 tonight to win on the money line. What are we expecting today in Oklahoma City?
So I'm expecting Pacers spread. I told you guys I think they're going to steal one of those games. I really think it's Game 1. They surprise teams with how they come out and play. They're always it's an adjustment to play the Pacers. It's an adjustment to play the Thunder too. But I think there's a little bit of taking lightly of the Pacers here. I think it's a little okey doke. I would love to see who's actually refereeing the game, because nowadays I think that actually matters. You know, if Tony Brothers is out there and he's like really letting them play, or if it's Scott Foster and it's a tight whistle and Shea's going to shoot 22 free throws, I think that's all going to matter. But I really like the Pacers tonight.
All right, Pacers plus 10. We got to pick a player prop time.
Oh,
I would take like
In a game
I
1.
feel like Siakam is such
like
a finals player.
Naismith threes or like Nemhard threes. Like
threes.
I would have one of them to make 2 threes, something like that.
Rob, I got the refs here for you. Crew chief tonight, John Goebel. Referee, Mark Davis. Umpire, David Guthrie. And the alternate is Kevin Scott.
So we got Mark.
I mean, if Kevin Scott gets in the game, watch out.
we
If
got
someone
Mark
cramps up in
Davis out
warm-ups.
there. Usually like to not know people's names when they're reffing the game. If there was a free throw prop, I would take Shea to shoot at least 12 tonight if I had to pick. But I seriously think the Pacers are going to win. The adjustments will get made. I do still think it's Thunder in 5. We might see a little reverse sweep action. If you remember, like when the Thunder played the Heat so many years ago, and KD and them, the young team, they came out, they shocked them, but the adjustments, they shut them out the rest of the way. I think it might even be like an overtime type of game. I'm expecting a really exciting game tonight, like all firing, and it's just gonna,
That's kind of been the trend with the Thunder, I feel, in this playoffs as well, is that like they've kind of come out and like started slow almost in every single series, like gotten into foul trouble in games, turned the ball over a lot. We saw that against the Nuggets and the Grizzlies, I believe earlier in this playoffs. And that's the kind of thing where it just seems like that happens. They just mentally shoe it and come out and just win by 45 the next game. Like they always just blow them out after the next game. So I do think they lose tonight and come back. And I kind of like your gentleman's sweep idea.
I seriously think like the Thunder. This is the start of a possible dynasty, as long as they don't like seriously fumble the bag. Like you got a team and they got all these picks. Some of them aren't even theirs. Like they could start if the ball is bounced the right way, they could come into like a number 1 pick while being like the best team in the league. Like it's one of those scenarios. So I'm excited to see it, but Halliburton may make another crazy moment in his run of just impossible things that have been happening so far. That could be on the docket for tonight.
Other news around the NBA, Phoenix Suns have announced they're hiring Cavaliers assistant coach Jordan Ott. Devin Booker was actually involved in the hiring process and stamped Ott as his top choice as well. Suns, this is another 4th coach in the last 4 seasons. Does that mean Johnny Bryant could potentially be the next head coach of the New York Knicks? I haven't seen anything yet. If they're even going to interview him, I imagine they will. And that is not great news for the Cavaliers, as we all know Johnny Bryant pretty damn close with one Donovan Mitchell.
Can I just start off by apologizing to Jordan Ott, because you're probably going to get fired in about a year. This isn't your fault at all, but it's happened for 3 years in a row now. I mean, Budenholzer comes in. He's from Phoenix, hometown kid, says like how happy he is to be here and coach his hometown team. He gets shit-canned after a year. I mean, they have no cap space. Bradley Beal can't move that. It's the worst contract probably in sports outside of Deshaun Watson at this exact moment in time. They don't have a bench. They don't have a point guard. Like, I mean, they have Booker, but like, I don't know.
He's not a point guard.
Well, I know, but like I'm saying, they have a guard at least. But like, they don't have an actual like true point guard. That was an issue. Everyone knew it was an issue.
I remember
they didn't address it.
I remember last year, at the end of last year, NBA. I was talking to some of my buddies, and I was saying Donovan Mitchell I think is way better than Devin Booker, and they're giving me shit for it. I don't know. Your guys' thoughts?
Woo!
Yeah, Donovan's better.
He's way better is a little crazy.
I think he's way better of an overall
Devin
player.
Booker's a really fucking good basketball player. He's a bucket, and I think he'll play like his game can last longer than Donovan's. It's less based on explosiveness.
Sure.
It's a lot more just silky smooth, and you always got to appreciate the guy that can get the easy buckets because he's going to be able to do it for a long time. Right now, I would take Donovan because he's got the more explosiveness, the athleticism to get by people, do some more things. So you see Book struggle with that sometimes, but he'll be I think he'll score like more points, play longer, all that type of stuff.
All right, we got a parlay in for tonight. Pacers plus 10. Naismith 2 threes. Siakam 18 plus points. And Miles Turner 5 rebounds.
I like it.
$20 pays 100.
Hashtag yes, sirs.
I like it.
All
Yes,
right,
sirs.
we're gonna hammer that all day. We'll put it out there. Jack, Stanley Cup Game 1 is over. Edmonton gets the win in overtime against the Panthers. Break it down for me.
Hey, I gotta correct you. I think it's Jack and Rob actually today
shit.
because Rob tuned in last night and he watched Game 1
that
of the
game-winning
Stanley
goal?
Cup
My
Finals.
boy Leon Draisaitl not only opens up the scoring,
That's a
but
fire
ends
name.
it in OT. 30 seconds left. Knocks it in off the pass from
Connor McDavid,
Yes,
the best
sir,
player in
McDavid.
hockey. Two of the best players on the same team. And Rob, what an incredible way to start off the Stanley Cup Final, going to OT in Game 1. Like you said, Draisaitl comes out, scores right away. One thing I kind of noticed with the the Florida Panthers rather last night, Rob, was there's a lot of missed assignments in the defensive zone that led to goals. Leon Draisaitl on the first goal. Ekholm scored the third goal. Was also kind of both their guys got lost. Too many guys got caught puck watching, not really looking for who was coming in low in front in the slot. So that was an issue for them. Sam Bennett was awesome, I thought, for the Panthers. Had 2 goals off of hard wrist shots. Like, it was a good game overall. You were right. You talked about it before the show a bit. Like, the Oilers were the better team. They did deserve to win this game. Delay a game is how the game ended, which I don't know if you guys know what that is in hockey, but it's a really dumb penalty where if you're in the defensive zone and you shoot the puck out of play, it's a penalty. And the Oilers have one of the best power plays of all time. McDavid moves the puck around the side, not to Draisaitl, and boom, that's going to happen almost any day of the week. Rob, give me your thoughts on hockey, and then who's taking game 2?
Okay, thoughts on hockey. Like I said, it started super fast. They scored so quick, but it could get a little stagnant.
You guys, what, minute in?
At times with some of the icing, but when they're not in the power plays, it's super. So you're dialed in, like you're locked. And that third period and the overtime, it's super exciting. Game 2, I actually think I'll take Edmonton again because I just feel like they put so much pressure on Florida all game. Like they were never
They were the
on
aggressor.
their heels. Yeah,
Yes.
they were always keeping it, getting shots on goal, keeping it on the other half, and I thought that was big for them. And then.
Because even like before that goal too, like you saw Kasperi Kapanen hit the post about halfway through overtime, and I think Kulik also might have sometime in overtime. So yeah, I mean they had a couple of chances in OT to end it. I know the Panthers had one breakaway as well, but
Thought it also shouldn't have gone to OT with the goal that they challenged. I thought they
Yeah,
should
the
have been able to take that
Sam
off the
Bennett in
board,
front.
but Dude falls in front of the goalie and then the shot flies into the top corner. So I thought that Edmonton played really well, and I think they'll win game 2.
that's
right.
it, brother.
That's it for the Big Factor. We're out of time. Huge shout out to Garage Beer. Huge shout out to Fairway Ford. Go get your tickets for the Call It Companies Championship. CallItGolf.com. We'll all be there all week. Appreciate everybody tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow. Same people, same time. Till then, peace out.